It is working.
Awesome.
Great, we'll start in a minute. First time doing an event on Twitch. Last time I actually streamed on Twitch was like 3 years ago, something like that. So I was actually doing a developer. Like I was streaming studio, making stuff for Disney and Wales.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, so we start in like half a minute.
Cool.
Thank everyone for being here, seeing that. I know it's a bit hard. This transition period. Okay, so it's okay. 6. Let's start. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. I'm Roger. I'll be your host for today. Today's event, as you all know, is I'll be talking with Cedar about the challenges of opening a theme park, at least the challenges he's faced opening his recent theme park movie world. So first of all, I would like to thank Cedar for being here, and I'll just let him introduce himself.
Awesome. Okay. Hi everyone. I am Cedar, also known as Tyler, as Roger already mentioned. I'm also an event organizer, but today I'll be talking about opening a theme park in Roblox. Outside of Roblox, I'm a web designer, but the main thing I do is Roblox. So yeah.
Great. So let's start. Okay. So let's start straight into it. So what got you into theme parks, like, and like specifically, what got you into like Roblox theme parks?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, main thing that got me into theme parks was sort of just enjoying them. I've been to quite a few, especially the main ones around the UK, and they've been sort of, I just enjoy them. Lots of people don't really have a reason, but I enjoy the rides and the feel of them and just how they are. It's a nice way to get away from everything. But one of the reasons I got into Roblox with it is mainly the technology you can use in Roblox. Like, you can't do the things you can do on Roblox, such as making a theme park on any other platform.
So, like, let's talk a bit about you. You've been in the theme park community for a while now. Why open a park now? So, why not do it before? Why just not do it? And what prompted you basically to get into making a theme park? Because it's quite a lot of work.
Yeah, so yeah, I joined Roblox about 8 years ago now, and I've probably been in the theme park community for about 6 years. But I've only recently started doing big theme park games such as Movie World, and I think one of the reasons I've got back into it was probably because you have much more freedom in what you can make now. Because if you go back a couple of years ago, you couldn't do half the things you can do now, and having a roller coaster which actually moves and is smooth is what you need now. Because if you did that 4 years ago or so, you couldn't do any of it without having to rely on physics and it breaking all the time.
So you explained a bit like coasters, like have improved quite a lot now. So what are the things do you think have improved, like for like compared to like 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
I think there's a lot, well, because there's more people, you've got way more resources to use. So, for example, there's lots of like open source C frames, there's lots of different like people you can contact to get ideas with, and because if you couldn't do that a few years ago, you couldn't start anything because no one knew how to do it, and because of how big the community has grown now, you can ask pretty much anyone within it to help you, and you can find someone.
Nice. So at the end, like tell us a bit about your park. So is it a recreation? Is it a custom park? What is it exactly?
Yeah, so Movie World is my theme park. It's based off the movie worlds around the world, but the main one being the one in Dubai. There are many such as in like Australia, but our one is based off Dubai, which is sort of it's a much smaller version of the real movie world, but the designs for it work really well for a Roblox game. So we've basically taken things from the real theme park and put it into our game, but also added our own twist onto it. So, for example, we've got all the roller coaster names and style, but the actual layout is completely different. We've given it its own theme to make it more unique and different.
So is it a so I know other people have tried to movie world before. So there was Llama, for example. Um, what does yours like? Do you take inspiration from the previous movie worlds there's been on Roblox or attempt, or is it like a complete new spin?
Yeah, so when we first made Movie World, we sort of wanted to make it in a way that people thought it looked similar to the other ones, but we came to the conclusion before opening that we want to make it more unique. So we probably redid the theme park around twice, three times to make it the way it is now. And it is definitely more custom than what it was, and we try to make it more unique so it isn't like any other Roblox theme park currently.
Nice. So now that you've done your own park, which is like a bit half customized recreation, what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of each type? So where does custom parks shine and where do recreation shine and the other way around?
Yeah. So some of the issues you have with like a recreation one is the limitations you can have. So a big one I've seen lots of people having issue with is video frames, in which if there's a video in like a real life one, you can't actually put that into Roblox yet. And I think there's lots of like styles of roller coasters and things you can't do quite yet in Roblox, but it is getting there. But one of the advantages to it is you have an idea of what to go with, so you can base it off Movie World, for example, and you can make it exactly like the real one, but within Roblox. And that's sort of what is good and bad for a recreation. But compared to a custom, with a custom, you can pretty much do anything you want. If you have an idea, you can add it. If you want to be inspired by a real game, you can do it sort of what we did with Movie World, take the idea but customize it. But one of the disadvantages to it is probably trying to get the ideas. If you have a blank game, it's like, what do you do? And trying to work out through that and how to build a big game from it.
So now if you had to start again from zero, will you still do a custom park or would you try to do a recreation?
I would probably do a recreation. I would want to make it more exact like a real theme park, but sort of give it a copyright free feeling, as I feel like that's one of the things we need to try and do the most in Roblox, is try and make it inspired like real life, but make it a bit custom, I guess.
I see. So mostly like a half-half, right?
Yeah, pretty much half and half.
So okay, now we're talking about the park. Let's talk a bit about developing it. So what do you think are the main challenges you faced when like opening and developing for your park? And like for example, how much has it taken since it started until you opened it some months ago?
Yeah, so I think some of the like important parts of it is sort of engaging the interactions and making them more engaging towards the players. Because what you don't want is to make a roller coaster. It looks really cool, but people don't enjoy it. So you sort of have to engage with the interaction. You have to have a good theming, because without a good theming, it's just a boring ride. One of the main issues I had with Movie World was we had all the rides sort of planned out, but we needed to add theming to it. But after we giggled theming and everything, there were a lot of issues and bugs we needed to smooth out. And if you're starting off a game, there will be a lot of bugs you need to try and sort. And some of them we didn't even know was a bug until we opened it and people told us about them. I think one of the strongest things you need to do, which is important, is to build a good community base. Because when we started Movie World, we had lots of people very excited for the game, but we needed to try and get a bigger audience. And when you have that, the game just grows massively.
So you talked a bit about like community. Um, So let's talk a bit about it since you mentioned it. So as we both know, we've been in this for quite a while. Community is really important for something like a theme park on Roblox because yes, you can probably succeed without community, but it's much harder. So what are the plans you have for your community? Like, do you think it's one of the hardest thing when building a theme park? And again, talking about you mentioned engagement and how in like how to build it into the park. How do you plan to make your community engaged? How do you plan to make it grow?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for Movie World, we have decided we need to try and make it more engaging. Because at the moment, it's a really big park and there's quite a few rides to go on. But to make it interactive, we're going to allow people to tour different guides, have tour guides around the park. We've got a parade planned. And we've got lots of live shows coming up. But I think one of the big difficulties within that is trying to get something which we can get as many people to come with and enjoy. So we need to try and engage them and get a sort of a big base of people which would like a set activity. So at the moment, we would probably ask people what jobs and things they would like to do in the game and expand from that. And it's mainly just talking to the community and getting the feedback from them.
So you've mentioned jobs. I've seen jobs. I've used them myself, and other like big parks on the platform have actually used it to keep like people engaged. How do you think jobs help engagement? Do you think it's because it brings in like this role playing um type of genre into theme parks? So what do you think? Like, why do you think jobs can help boost this engagement?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things is the job part is trying to get sort of when you have a job, you need people to enjoy it. So I think one of the things people enjoy doing the most is interacting with the theme park. So they want to be a part of the experience. So one of the main things you would need to try and do is sort of like crate moving or being able to operate a ride and having a more interactive part. So you're not just visiting a game, you can actually be a part of a game and make it more interactive, I guess.
So again, let's go back to developing it. So okay, so let's go back. You start your park. You start planning. What is the first thing you plan for? So how do you start the planning phase?
Yeah, so one of the big issues we had with Movie Log is trying to plan what we wanted, and I think one of the best things you can do is to sort of research and get an idea of what like the real life theme parks are like. So one of the big things we did first was have a look at the movie world maps of all the different movie worlds and try and work out a general layout and then plan what we would want to have in the Roblox game compared to what's actually in real life. So it's definitely trying to get inspiration from other people is what we would need to do for it.
So okay, so you start planning. Once planning is done, what is the like? What is the next step? So is it just starting building? Is it like resource gathering? So take us a bit through the steps of from planning until release.
Yeah, so after we sort of got the idea and what we wanted to do, one of the things we first started was making the basic sort of layout. We added lots of parts and sort of laid out where Main Street was going to be and where all the different lands were going to be and sort of joined the game and walked around it and thought, would people enjoy it in this layout? And the first few layouts, we didn't really enjoy going around it because it just felt quite out of the way. So we ended up moving lots of different layouts. And once we had that, we could start to actually build the buildings and start to develop from that point forward. And then after we did lots of builds, and we began all of the scripting and GUIs.
So as I said, we've talked about the steps of the China Park, but so did you have when you started the project? Did you have like a different view? Has something changed from like your perception of to make a theme park I would have to do this, I'd have to do that compared to now?
Yeah, so when we first started the game, we had sort of set idea was this is how we were going to have the game, but then the more we developed it, we realised it isn't going to work for a Roblox game. So we did lots of different changes, such as how the feel of it was going to be like, and sort of the theming, I guess, for it. And there was lots of like failed attempts, failed builds we did, and there was a lot of changing to try and get it the way it was today.
So, for example, I think something that a lot of people usually fail at is, or have a big problem, is making the park too big. What do you think is like a good balance between like not too big of a park, but also not too small of it? So,
Yeah, so when we did Movie World, we had it massive and we didn't really know what to do with all of the space. So if you look in opening now, it's still quite big, but we had it on a sort of medium set size because what you don't want to do is to have it too small and then you can't expand out. There isn't enough room if you've got a round layout for the game. You've got to try and move everything, but if you have it too big, it makes it very difficult to just sort of walk around the park and it will take quite a while to do. So for Movie World, we had about 5 lands planned out, but we've made it in a way if we wanted to add something else, we could quite easily move the different sort of sections of the map and expand out from it.
so you're talking a bit about like you're talking actually in plural. So that means you have a team. It's not only yourself. So tell us a bit about your team. Like, what do you think is? I want to make a medium-sized theme park. What do you think? So who do you think I need to have in my team?
Yeah, so for Movie World, we've got a very small team. We've got around 5 developers working on the game, and every single developer works on different parts of the game. But if you wanted to make about a medium theme park, I would probably recommend having about 7 or 8 developers. And don't just get sort of developers which can only do set things. Lots of the developers we've got for Movie World can do a bit of building, a bit of scripting, and can bring lots of original ideas which maybe the other developers may not have that set idea. And it sort of gives us much more freedom and creation we can do for the theme park.
I see. I see. So let's say I wanted to own my own park. What do you think, in your opinion, are the 3 most important aspects I should know?
Yeah, so for making a theme park, one of the biggest things we didn't sort of realise was how we have to get the layout perfectly. So if we're doing a roller coaster, for example, when it's based on a real game, we would have to try and get it as similar as possible so that people could sort of, if they've been on it before, they would know how to do it. And if you're first starting off at a park, it's quite difficult to have a set theme and set layout. So it does just make it quite difficult to try and get a theme for it. But it's a difficult question.
See, so okay. Now looking back, you've released. What are the things you would change? Like, if you could change anything right now, what is the thing you would change?
Yeah, so we've got a few regrets with Movie World, and some of the main things we have is the park is really big, and we wanted to try and add more builds into it, and that's one of the things we had quite a far deadline, but trying to get all of the sort of new theming and to get everything away it needed to be before opening was quite difficult. So what I would probably say, if you're starting off a game, don't give yourself a deadline saying we're going to open in a few months' time. Sort of don't plan the deadline out yet. Just work for it for a few months and see how it goes. If you're getting close to finishing, then think about a release date. But don't plan really far ahead for something because it makes it very difficult and it will burn you out after working on it for a while.
Yeah, I do agree with the deadline thing. I think this in Jira something. I mean, deadlines, you have to set them sometimes, but you don't always have to set them. And I think that is one of the problems some people have, is like, I need to open by that. No,
Yeah,
just make
definitely.
a good product. A rushed product is always a bad product. So
Yeah.
okay, so you've released. What are the future plans? So how do you plan on? So because as you said, it's about keeping the park engaged, keeping people engaged with the park. What are the future plans to like help people come back and say, "Oh, I want to play this game again"? So, what do you think are the main challenges of like once you have the theme park open? What do you think are the main challenge? Just like the developer team has.
Yeah, so now the movie world's open, we've got much more freedom, so we can get the player feedback, but we have lots of different rides sort of planned out, and to get the park constantly open, we need to try and invite more people. So we're opening a 4D ride which is coming. We're going to add more flat rides and basically try and add many more things to get different parts of the theme park community to enjoy the game. And that might include having more events or having sort of unique things to make the game similar to some of the other ones, but sort of a part of it and having a set game in a way.
So it's a little bit about like dark rides, coasters, flat rides. So how do you think? So what do you think is the key to balancing those elements in the park? Because probably if you have too much coasters, people will just get bored at the end. If you have too many flat rides, like there's not enough thrill. Dark rides take a lot of time to do. So what do you think is a good balance between the rides?
Yeah, so one of the things we have with Movie World, which we are changing, is we have too many flat rides within the game. And I would personally probably say you would want more roller coasters than flat rides in an actual theme park because you wouldn't go to a real life theme park and see tons of flat rides because everyone will go there for the experience of going on the roller coaster. So I would probably say like every two roller coasters probably have one flat ride, but in terms of dark rides, lots of theme parks don't have them yet within Roblox, and I think one of the things that all theme parks should have at least one unique ride, and that could be a dark ride, or that could be the other types of rides, because there's lots of different themes we could do and have different ones for it.
So promotion is a very important thing, right? I think we can both agree on that. Because if you have a great game but no one knows about it, it's really a waste of time. So how do you promote a theme park?
Yeah, so when Movie World started, we were quite lucky because we had a sort of small fan base already before we actually properly advertised it. But I think one of the best ways to get your game advertised is to join like theme park servers which allow you to advertise within it and sort of share your creations on Twitter and different social medias because lots of the time people will enjoy theme parks but won't be in a server, for example, a Discord server just for a theme park. Lots of people will be around Roblox but may not actually know about your game. So I think trying to advertise it in places you may not think people would actually enjoy it in, but it turns out there probably will be people within that platform that will actually enjoy the theme park quite a lot.
I see. So I think this is all for today, at least from our part. So we don't want to really keep it very long because long events just aren't engaging. So I think we will open Q&A. So if you want to ask a question, just type it in the chat. And again, thank you to Cedar for coming. And I hope you actually check out his park. If you want to send the link through the chat, Cedar, or I'll send it through the chat.
Sure, I'll send it to you if you give me just a second.
Also, just a reminder, if you can, please fill in this survey that we will send you now. It helps us. And there. Please fill in this survey. It helps us improve the quality of our events. So yeah, we really appreciate that. And if you want to check out Movie World, there you have the link. So we'll be here until like 5:30 if no one has a question. I would like to thank everyone for coming. I know it's probably not the best time. And Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming for this sort of short interview.
Just a reminder, Rafa is my next event. Rafa is the biggest theme park convention on Roblox, and if you're interested on joining, the booth signing opens tomorrow. If you want to join, you have to join our Discord in order to join. But a second, I'll just send the link if someone wants to join. If someone wants to join, you can just get the link there. Okay, I think there's probably no questions in chat, so I think we'll close the event here. Once again, thank you, Cedar. You'll find this recorded on my YouTube. I'm probably gonna see theirs too. So thank you very much. See you, everyone. Have a nice day.